return of the Gears team comes in the form of a prequel, with the ultimate culmination of the series ending with the third title. We recount some of the misadventures of Kilo Squad. Taking place a few years before the events of the original Gears of War, Baird and Cole find themselves on the bad side of a tribunal. Baird has to explain why he blew up a city before both he and his squad end up with a bullet in their heads. Each of the members of Kilo Squad has to explain their side of the story. We get to see a side of Baird and Coltrane that we have never seen before. The younger versions of these rigid heroes are more reserved and slightly more serious. The recollection of the disaster propels Kilo Squad through a slew of harrowing battles, but it is completely without emotional impact. It is as forgettable as a summer flick with the action portions directly in your control. Aftermath is the second campaign, and it is surely from the chopping block of Gears of War 3. It takes place 24 hours before the epic ending of the final title, and it unveils how Baird and Cole were able to get their hands on a gigantic boat. It removes the declassified content and brings back the set pieces and linear storytelling that makes the series famous. Even though it clocks in at 1.5 hours, it puts the 5-hour campaign of Judgment to shame. It's engrossing and reminiscent of the numbered Gears titles, which makes it even more obvious that this was content removed from GAL 3.
Oh, come on!
You better call on your back.
You call her back!
The foundation of Gears of War remains intact. Judgment asks the player to challenge themselves with a series of declassified missions. Each location sections out into zones, while the start of each of these zones is signified by a glowing cog symbol. Activating these symbols will bring up specific enemy types or objectives that shine a brighter light on the storyline. This will match up the muscle-bound grunts against exploding wretches, or padlock the player into the usage of certain weapons. Completing these tasks will fill the stars at the top of the screen faster than if the declassified missions were skipped. Performing stylistic kills will net the player a longer streak in the collection of stars. The stars will unlock new skins and levels for the characters and weapons. Earning ribbons will increase the chance of leveling and earning normal and epic prize boxes. These boxes provide the player with new skins or a multitude of experience points. It is a nice little addition, but the pure aesthetics of the rewards will not push players to grind for them. Structurally, this changes the whole dynamic of the campaign. It's likely that People Can Fly designed this title to be played over and over again on harder difficulty levels. The declassified trials don't change at all, but the enemies and item placement vary each time the mission is activated. It's similar to the already famous Horde mode, but with a streamlined story architecture backing the play. Ideally, this title was made to play with goal-oriented players seeking rewards. When playing the title alone, the CPU will attempt to provide as much of a realistic team as they can. They still show signs of stupidity and will rush into melee range to challenge the larger creatures such as boomers. It's a good thing that they can't be slain when downed, and this gives you a tactical advantage to use them as bait. On the other hand, if your Gears member is down but not out too far away from the AI, they will pretty much ignore you. Stay close to them or be prepared to restart the battle if they are out of range. They also like to do this casual backwards jog when they revive you. It can be a really nerve-wracking experience. The Unreal Engine has more of a refined look to it in Judgment. The scaled-back bulk and softer shading on the character models attest to that. New ambient effects take precedence, such as harsh winds or enveloping clouds of smoke. The colors are bright and vivid without burdening the eyes, and the sound design retains the quality expected of the series. The blood-curdling scream of a locust being torn to shreds by a chainsaw still amounts to bliss. In the land of player versus player, we're introduced to two brand new modes in the world of Gears. Free-for-all is your standard deathmatch fun, where players can go wild with any weapon they want and slaughter anyone that stands in their way. Overrun sets players to protect or destroy strategic points on the map. Players are limited to class structures such as Medic, Soldier, Engineer, and Scout on the COG side. The Locusts have 4 extra classes such as Berserker and Ticker that can do significant damage to defenses and defenders. I found it to be the most fun and possibly the main staying point among the versus modes. Survival is pretty much the player versus monster equivalent of Overrun, and that's just lazy in my opinion. Judgment is a good game to play a couple of times and drop after a week or so. It's fun and frantic, but it doesn't have the drawing power of other games in the series. If you are a Gears of War fan, you will find a great deal of fun here. Just don't expect the storyline or new features to absolutely woo you. Gears of War Judgment receives a B- from Geek Citadel. The prequel doesn't really break any new ground in the story, but at the very least, it's fun.
Thanks, Cole. My pleasure, sir.
For more reviews and opinion pieces, visit geekcitadel.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave a comment on the webpage. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Thanks for watching and see you next time.